Hello, One Pride. Welcome to Outside the Den, Inside the Barn, the podcast for Lions fans by Lions fans. My name is Jake, and I'm once again joined by my brother Josh here.
Howdy.
All right, so it looks like we're missing a couple people today. You may not see our father Steve yet, but hoping to get a phone call here shortly with him. But we'll talk about that shortly. So, Josh, first of all, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad. We got another game tomorrow.
Yeah, so, it's the best thing about football season is, one game ends, wait a couple days, we got our next game. So, first of all, we talked a lot last week about some of the things that we loved last season and some of the things we didn't like as much last season. But, obviously, we're here the day before the the Lions preseason game in Atlanta, but we did last week get an additional preseason game that was this season's Hall of Fame game located in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Woof.
I tell you what, if my predictions couldn't have been more wrong, I don't
Here's
know if
the
they could have
thing. You
been.
predicted the Chargers would win.
I did, but I said
did.
it'd be a close game, and that wasn't everything but that.
Not the case. I went the opposite way. I should have kept my original prediction. I did predict the Chargers to win by 2 touchdowns on a phone call with my friends, but I have no evidence of that, so they'll call me a liar. But that's okay. In the actual prediction, I had them winning by 6 points. Did not happen. Woof. All right. But yeah, just some things to note right now. Obviously, the score was 34-7. Lions offense just really couldn't get anything going. And, there were times the defense didn't look all that bad. The problem with it is Trey Lance did play very well, but you would expect that from a former 3rd overall pick. Not that he'll see the field over Justin Herbert, but the other big thing, too, is just those turnovers killed us. First play of the game, Grant Stewart, linebacker returning kicks. That was pretty electric until he fumbled it. Kyle Allen had a couple bad passes that were big interceptions, and then as well as, Hendon Hooker comes in that second half, throws a ball that could have been catchable, but then it deflects, and then all of a sudden it's get picks off, right? Obviously, fan favorite here for the Takacha household, Craig Reynolds. With a big, nice little touchdown run on the goal line after, we thought he might have been hurt for a while. Yeah. But just a couple other things I want to highlight before I ask your opinion of the game, Josh. But we saw a couple interesting things as well, specifically from 2 rookie wide receivers. We saw 2 really big catches out of Isaac Tesla, third round pick by the Detroit Lions, traded 3 third rounders to get him. Hometown kid, we mentioned him before in the last session. Grew up in Hudsonville, played at Hillsdale College, transferred to Arkansas, but made some really nice catches, some big gains. You see they talk about him being a hands catcher, which is really important in football because it's easy to catch like this, but if you can catch out, you can really keep it away from defenders. You can get it to your body a lot quicker. And you really saw those hands on display, but clearly some speed. He's strong. He had a couple, decent blocks, but he was very clearly kept at a lower workload because he is a higher round pick. They probably envision him to step into a higher role. And as well as a guy that, had kind of an iffy game. He had over 5 catches for almost 40 yards, but we saw a couple of decent returns out of him, out of Dominic Lovett as well, 7th round pick out of Georgia. I think a lot of good potential returning upside from him, but he also had some wheels on him. Josh, do you have any thoughts from that game? Obviously, we watched it here in the barn. I think I got a little distracted, so I didn't see as much of the second half as you did. Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 players that you mentioned, I thought were standouts. Again, Hall of Fame game. I think there's something going around saying that if you won the Hall of Fame game, you don't have a shot at winning a playoff game.
I think what is 0-8 since the Hall of Fame game happened?
Something like that.
Instigated, something like that?
24 years or whatever. I can't remember. But, yeah, so, we don't put a lot of weight in the preseason games for the very reason of you're not seeing what you're going to see in the regular season. But the standout players that you mentioned, and then obviously on defense, sounds like we got a pretty decent edge rusher.
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
Yeah, Ahmad Hassan, yep. Yeah. So first Egyptian-born player drafted to the NFL. Pretty cool milestone there. Yes. But out of Boise State rookie, the dude would die on the field for Dan Campbell. Check out that clip. Obviously, we can't play. We don't want to get copyright. Yep. But check out that clip online. Definitely for me has a lot of Rodrigo in him.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the kind of comparison I made after watching clips of him. There's some great clips of him at the NFL Combine of him being the first out there, showing some leadership capability, yelling at the coaches, not a like, hey, screw you, buddy, but rather more of like, hey, let's go, come on, like kind of jacking each other up. So I think that's something exciting. Do I think he's going to have an immediate impact? I do not. The guy's played football for a little over 5 years now, so it's similar to a Ziggy Ansah situation. Hopefully ends up being better than the Ziggy Ansah situation. Not to take anything away from him, but, just not a long-term solution there. Yep. But I do think he's got a motor. He's fast. I was at this past Monday on August 4th, I was at Lions practice at formerly Allen Park Training Facility, now Meyer Performance Center. Got to see him have a couple really good reps against some of the second-string offensive linemen, but, like, the guy's fast. He has a motor. He's strong, just very unpolished. So we'll see. I think he'll get some reps. I think he'll come in, especially if they need a change of pace. But obviously he's not quite better than Hutchinson or Davenport yet. But we do need that second tier, and I think we saw some good things out of him. I'm hoping to see him against maybe some first to second string guys this week, just to see him go against a slightly better competition, because generally, at practices, you don't always get those guys against Penei Sewell. You don't get them against Taylor Decker. They usually go up against, Manu or, not Mahogany, because he's a starter, most likely a starter this season. But, he goes against the second, third, fourth string guys. And, against those lower level guys, somebody who he looked really good, but, like, Penei Sewell's the best tackle in football. So, a guy like Aiden Hutchinson beating Penei Sewell, still surprising, is still not that surprising. But then you get a guy, if he's able to win against Penei Sewell, then you're there going, whoa.
What do we got here?
What do we got here?
Yeah.
So I think a very unpolished product. I think he's in a good position where he's not expected to come in and be the answer to our pass rush woes, but I do think that he'll have an opportunity to show himself. Muhammad, he was 69 last year. He's 96 this year. I cannot remember his name. It's cool first name that I just can't remember. Al-Quadin Muhammad, I think. Yeah. I don't want to get offensive here. He stepped it up when he needed to and made some really big plays. Was he the answer? No. Zadarius Smith was the answer. So hopefully we do bring up Zadarius Smith back. So maybe we'll see after this week. Maybe we'll get some better news on it.
That comment was pretty good. They're still talking. They just got to work things out. What's his nephew play for the Lions right now?
He played, or he was on the practice squad. I forget.
I think he's on the roster at least.
Oh, it might have been an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Look how uninformed we are, and we say you're pretending to be experts.
Like I said, we can pretend to be experts like everybody else.
Exactly, right? I can say whatever I want.
There's 100 people on the roster. They haven't cut anybody yet.
That's true. Not yet. We'll see. The first round of cuts should be happening after this week, which is kind of crazy to think about when it's the first preseason game. But I think their clock has just accelerated a little bit because they had to play that extra one. But I think at the end of the day, I think it went a little bit against our favor, what we predicted, but still at the end of the day, a fairly vanilla game. We didn't see anything too crazy. We did not see any of the Lions stars. We saw a handful of the Chargers second and first string, so I don't want to make excuses, but at the end of the day, no major players for the Lions were hurt. We had a couple rookies really banged up that, unfortunately will not be playing the rest of our season. Rest in peace, Dan Jackson, as well as Ennis Rakestraw, second-year player. I'm really big on. So hopefully they heal well, their recovery goes well, and everything like that. But any last thoughts on the Hall of Fame game, Josh, before we move on?
Nope, I'm just glad it's over.
Absolutely. So we have a new segment for today for episode 2. Do you want to kind of lead into what this new segment's going to be?
Yeah. So we've been Lions fans for decades, so there's got to be some great moments in what made us Lions fans, or just certain things that happen that we reflect on, and just like to remember as some of our favorite moments. And I'll go first. And one of my favorite moments back. I've been a season ticket holder since 2006, and a few years later, obviously the dreadful 0-16 season, where not everybody was attending the games, but made it real easy to get sideline passes before the game, and get real close to the warm-ups and stuff like that. And so my younger brother, your older brother Brad, was with me, as well as my oldest son, and he was I don't know, 5 or 6. No. Yeah, about 5 or 6. Anyways, and I got a great picture of him in his, I think it was Calvin Johnson jersey, just kind of looking at the field, his hands in his pocket, looking like he's almost like, supervising. Like he's one of the head honchos on the sideline, making sure that the team's doing what they need to do. And I don't know, maybe that kind of sparked his interest in, he eventually wants to work for the Lions, in some shape or form. He's, getting his degree in that area. I think that, picture or those moments might have contributed to him wanting to do that. So for me as a dad, that's a favorite thing because it just shows you what this team can do, good or bad, to affect people's lives.
Yeah, and I think the impact of a favorite sports team or a favorite athlete, it really just shows you how cool it is to introduce somebody, and you don't know what kind of impact they're going to make. And there is that joke, right, of you let a group of 11 guys dictate your mental state for the rest of the week, right? But yeah, no. So I think a moment for me that really sticks out, something I always remember, but I did look up the date so I could actually pull it up, is I believe it was the year after you got the season tickets in 2007, or was that the first year?
2006 was my first season.
Correct. So it was the second season. So, I did not grow up playing football. I started playing football as I was entering middle school because I was at the time kind of a bigger kid. Not necessarily a hefty kid, but I was just kind of taller than most kids. So I had a couple classmates of mine saying, "Oh, Jake, you should come out for football. That'd be great. You got a good size for it." Little did I know, I would kind of stop growing shortly after that. Forever 5'10". Crazy. But, one game in particular, Josh would, drag me to those 0-16 games, at some point. But he did take me to a specific game that I'll always remember for the rest of my life. Your early season tickets when you were kind of up in the upper deck, level 300. I remember a specific game against the Denver Broncos where the Detroit Lions, laid down the hammer against the Broncos. They won 44-7, and one play sticks in my mind. Do you know what play I'm talking about, Josh?
No.
We had a defensive tackle.
Oh,
big old boy.
Shawn Rogers.
Shawn Rogers. He was a hell of a run stopper. Couldn't run worth a darn. And as a fellow lineman, I understand what it's like to need an oxygen tank after a big run. But that big son of a gun, he somehow a ball was batted down at the line of scrimmage, and that big boy ran 66 yards on an interception return touchdown. I believe he sat out at least 1 to 2 drives on the oxygen tank after. But not only did I get to see an insane play, but I did get to see my Detroit Lions just really lay the hammer down. And admittedly, not a great Denver Broncos team that season. They were 3-5 at the time.
Who's the QB for them?
Oh, that's a great question. I believe it was. It looks like Patrick Ramsey.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who that is, but that's okay.
I remember that name. That's about it.
I was, still in middle school at the time, but that's okay. But yeah, no, so I think that was a really cool thing, especially as I was getting into football. I got to see some really cool games. Obviously, get to see some athletes at the peak of their, ability, and it really made me dream about, may not necessarily getting to the NFL. And I was more of a basketball guy. I like basketball a little bit more, but, I ended up having a better football career in high school. But, it really kind of helped you it got me more interested in the sport. It encouraged me to learn more about it. And now it's something that I share with my family. I have a lot of friends, that we talk football pretty much every day when we do talk to each other, as well as obviously my really big interest in fantasy football too. So I think, obviously you're the reason why I'm a Lions fan, Josh. So thanks, buddy.
Hey, you're welcome.
Appreciate it, man.
You want to know why truly I ended up starting watching Lions?
Why is that?
Playing Madden.
Yeah.
And this could be another segment in the future, but name our top 5 of all time that we have witnessed in person players for the Lions. But I didn't start watching the Lions until after Barry. Everybody looks at me like, and how did you become a Lions fan then? It just, flat out, was over at Buddy's house. We were playing Madden. He showed me a couple plays that we did, and I was basically the running back most of the time. But I was getting some pretty good, good runs in, and so I went home, bought the game, and started playing it religiously. And at that point, I won the Super Bowl with Joey Harrington and Azakim.
Wow, what an alternate reality. But some context there. I mean, like, let's be honest. You grew up. We grew up at different times, right? Different pockets of time we grew up in, but the same kind of thing happened. We did not grow up a football family, right?
Right.
You and the other two boys did not play football. I didn't play football until middle school, and football wasn't played on the TV when growing up. It was always baseball or basketball.
Yep.
And even to an extent, it was mostly baseball. But, and that's not to say anything specific. It's just when our father didn't grow up playing football, there's a little bit less of an interest. And it just kind of snowballed over time. And I think you obviously having the tickets and us getting to see games, I think really helped. Obviously, in recent memory, the success we're seeing with the Dan Campbell era and Brad Holmes is, based off of what we saw with, we don't want to talk bad about people, but that previous couple of regimes that we had during those years, where it seemed like it was negligence almost, but now you're seeing active, moves being made, draft picks hitting, good coaching or good coaching success as well. So I think, it's a way to bring the family together, and that's why we're even doing this at all, why we're doing the watch parties. It's just a really awesome thing to just kind of bring the family together, especially with times like COVID and some other stuff that have happened that have just kind of increased stress in the world, right? So it's just something to kind of bring people together, get us to hug, laugh, sing Gridiron Heroes on the karaoke machine. Mentioned that last week. But yeah, so Josh, that's a great segment. I think that's something we should definitely ask all of our guests, because everybody's got a different story. Sometimes it's they grew up and the grandfather loved them in the 50s. Sometimes it's you play Madden. Sometimes it's your brother drags you and tortures you by taking them to 0-16 games, season games. But yeah,
I don't think that you ever turned down that popcorn and pop and just being part of the facility.
Here's the thing: I would have turned down popcorn. I'm not a big popcorn guy.
Oh, okay.
I would have turned that down. I definitely wouldn't have turned down probably some M&Ms or whatever.
Well, I'm sure that there was something.
I'm sure I begged you for all the junk food. I mean, look at me. But yeah,
look at me.
Hey, we're working on it. We're working on it.
We are working on it. Guaranteed. Out here in the barn, we are working on it.
Heck yeah. Not just for Lions parties out here in the barn.
No. Okay. Hey, on the line, we got our first caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, first-time caller, Brad Tkachuk's on the line with us. This is the Outside the Den, Inside the Barn podcast. Lions fans just talking Lions. So you're being our very first caller on the show. How you doing?
Good.
Is there anything that made you a Lions fan, or one of your favorite Lions moments as a fan?
I mean, a great moment was obviously when Barnes picked that pass off from Tampa Bay and sealed the victory, the second playoff victory. Obviously I love the Matthew Stafford putting it over the line against the Cowboys last second when they thought he was going to clock it.
Yeah, the fake spike, yeah.
That was
thus proving the rule that I have is you show up before the game. You do not leave until that clock says all zeros, because I think ESPN probably had us at 99.9% chance of losing that game, and we ended up winning. So, all right, we're back with a segment of what made you a Lions fan, your earliest favorite memory of the Lions. Take it away.
Yeah, so I can remember I think it was the 1982 playoffs where I was just a kid and I didn't really know what was going on, but I remember Monty Clark praying on the sidelines for Eddie Murray to hit the field goal against the San Francisco 49ers. He did not make it, and I think there were a lot of adults in the room that were telling, that's kind of what happens with the Lions kind of a thing. So I do remember that. It wasn't really when I became a fan, though. Really, when I became a fan, it really was that 1991 season, being able to watch the Lions, that with Wayne Fonts and Barry Sanders, Rodney Peete starting the season, Eric Kramer coming in, and when Pete went down with the injury, kind of a thing, and just watching 12-4 Lions. Nobody'd ever seen anything like that. Going to the Silverdome, I had gotten a chance to go to the Silverdome for some of those games, and it was just something that I'd never experienced before. Before that, I'd had the Tigers in the World Series. We had the Pistons, that won the 89 and 1990 championships. Red Wings weren't really a thing at that point. But that was really the first season where the Lions had true success, and just everybody getting so excited about it. It was pretty awesome to be a part of that, see them. My mom actually went to the Cowboys game, the playoff game. My mom and my aunt went to that. So I didn't get a chance to go to that myself, but just living through that kind of a thing That was where I really got hooked. In 91, I'm, a junior in high school, 92, senior in high school. And that was, that was the part of it. That was everything where, okay, now I'm going to follow the Lions from now on. And I really have ever since.
Like I mentioned in mine, I didn't start watching the Lions fan or become a Lions fan until after Barry, which everybody looks at me like, "Are you nuts?" But hey, I'm getting my time now.
Yeah, and that was, I remember Barry getting drafted, and again, that draft, the funny thing, Troy Aikman being number 1, Tony Mandrich, Michigan State, number 2, and then seeing Barry come in and just the excitement that created, something else. And I did get a chance to watch that whole career happen. So, chances to go to the Silverdome, you had 80,000 seats, so you had a chance to go to a game a little bit easier than you do these days, kind of a thing, unless you got season tickets.
Well, they've added more seats apparently. So I think they're turning
Ford Field.
Yeah, I think they're turning that standing room only into actual seats now. So
I mean, when you get a chance to sell for an extra couple thousand, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been a Lions fan since those. I do remember the Darryl Rogers years. That was late '80s kind of a thing, but that was disappointing. I do remember watching them flounder through 6-10 and 4-12 seasons a lot, but really didn't start paying attention until that run that they got to the NFC Championship game. I really didn't watch the championship game against Washington because I knew Washington was going to crush them, and they did. But yeah, just so many times through the years, and it's really about some of the people that you got to share that with. So many friends and family that we got to share that with. In some of the more recent years, the chances to have things here. Watching some of that, having some of the family get involved in that kind of a thing, because you never really had that before. You were a Lions fan, and there were people that were just like, why do you even watch the Lions? They're no good. And you're just like, no, you really got to understand, it's about the whole league, and it's about what the Lions mean in it. Yep. But the last few years, having people to share it with that maybe didn't know more about the NFL, and now they're coming in and they're like, okay, I hear the Lions and about how exciting they are. Let me check it out for myself. Having those people come in and being able to kind of teach them a little bit about the game has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's quite a few people here. Different, Jake just did the season predictions with my son and his friend, and I know that they both played football in high school, but pretty sure Connor doesn't follow the Lions as much, but
yeah, and that's the great part. I think as long as you're not, nobody needs to be a snob about it or be like, well, you don't know what you're talking about or anything. Everybody have fun with it.
Yeah.
And if you got somebody that comes in and they're like, I know football, I don't know the Lions, but I know football, and I'm just going to go ahead and say some things about it. Have some fun with it. Let them joke along with you, and then try to show them a little bit about, okay, this is what's going on. And, just for tonight, seeing, what happened on the field at the preseason game, we're talking in, week 1, I guess it would be technically called, and the injury there, and having people understand the brotherhood and what that meant for an injury like that. I think people can see that, football can be a universal language even beyond just, the sport kind of a thing.
Definitely. Hopefully in 20+ weeks we're throwing a big ass party.
I'd really like that. That's the one thing that I haven't experienced as a Lions fan. Now, I've experienced a lot of downs, a few ups, but to hopefully be here for the ultimate prize or something like that would be excellent.
Yeah, last year I had it planned out. Different parking areas. You park close to the barn. You're staying for the whole game and you're not leaving. You park a little bit further away from the barn. You're going to stay for the game, but you're going to probably leave afterwards. You park closer to the house. It's I need to leave whenever I want to. You park right in front of the garage. That means I'm not leaving until tomorrow because we're rewatching the game.
Yeah.
And celebrating until whatever time. So
yeah,
plans made.
If we can see the the game. We can see the replay. We can see fireworks. We can see all the revelry and anything like that.
Yeah.
This year, that'd be excellent.
Yeah. And I still have some great fireworks from a couple years ago. That's just waiting to get set off. Might annoy the neighbors, but I think they'll understand.
Yeah, I think everybody will be in a celebratory mood no matter what's going on at that point.
And I'm pretty sure that parade is going to start in the Upper Peninsula and head its way down the Mackinac.
Yeah, let it from the fan of the year there, Megan or whatever,
Yep.
and she can bring it down, and we can just keep marching down the Mackinac Bridge and
then we got a lot of Canadian fans. We might have to take it over to the ambassador. So.
Come on over, Windsor.
Yeah, that's right.
The water's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the wrap for that segment, and we'll be back next Thursday.
All right. See you then.
Good to have you. Thanks.
Excited about those Lions. Another game tomorrow.
I know. We got Atlanta tomorrow, and so Jake's gonna rapid fire some questions to you, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, Brad. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, so Brad, I'm gonna give you a list of stuff. You're gonna rapid fire your response to me. All right. There's a lot of context, but you're somebody who rewatches the games, once or twice a week after the game happens. So, first of all, which of these Lions quarterbacks is going to lead the Detroit Lions in passing this upcoming season? Who do you think? A lot of options to pick from, but any names stick out to you? You think
not as many options as Cleveland, but
yeah, that's true.
Probably Jared Goff, Jake. It's probably Jared Goff.
Probably Jared Goff. You sure it's not going to be Kyle Allen or Tom Kennedy? As much as Dad would love to see him take some snaps.
Hey, listen, I thought Allen didn't do that bad, other than the 2 interceptions. He had some nice plays in that game. And then as far as Hooker's concerned, I think he was a little rocky to start. But even the interception, I didn't really think it was his fault. I think he threw a good pass that was not really brought in by the receiver, and there were some good moments with him too. So I don't think that game was as bad as it was. How they always say that, right? It's never as good as you think. It's never as bad as you think. And I think that's a good example.
I think couldn't have said it better, but sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
Hooker is starting this second game from all signs of it, so he will get his chance with the second team, and maybe first couple first teamers too.
Yeah, I saw that, and I think I'm hoping he does well. And the offensive line, I hope does well.
All right, awesome, Brad. We're gonna once again rapid fire through some stats here, or not stats, but stats. Who you think is going to be our statistical leaders? Which of our 2 running backs do you think is going to lead the team in rushing yards this season?
Got to go with Gibbs on this one because I think this is the year he becomes like the Christian McCaffrey of the NFL.
Yeah, dual threat, maybe even triple threat. I don't know if we've seen Gibbs throw a pass yet, but maybe he can. So I think it's a good point. Now, Brad, a really interesting conversation. Some dissension amongst our first panel of hosts last week. A lot of great pass catchers on this team. Some a good rookie one, a young talented tight end, a couple of really dynamite receivers. Which Lions player do you think will lead the team in receiving yards this season?
It's got to be Tom Kennedy.
Oh, man. I know somebody who wishes it will be.
St. Brown, man. It's got to be St. Brown. I think Jameson Williams is going to have some great moments. I think it's going to be very similar to last year with Laporta of St. Brown. I don't see that changing a bunch. But, hey, you want a stat for you. The number 4 receiver after those 3 is going to be Tesla.
Yeah. Tesla. I like that. Call. I like that pick. He looked good in he looked good in that Hall of Fame game, in the limited time he got, but and he's been showing out at practice according to all reports. So getting some first team reps this past week. But yeah, and so let's move.
I'm going to predict 400 yards and 4 touchdowns for Tesla over the course of the season.
It's not bad for a guy you assume is going to be your 4th receiver out there, potentially 3rd by the end of the season. So, and especially with the amount of mouths they have to feed on that offense, as we know. So, really not bad for a 3rd receiver if you assume that you're going to get a repeat of last year, where you're going to have 2 1,000-yard receivers. So,
possibly even more because Gibbs is going to be sent outside.
Yeah, there you go. And then, Brad, Jack Campbell led us in tackles last year. Anzalone missed some significant time despite playing at, arguably an all-pro level prior to his injury. Do which Lions player do you think will lead the league or the team in tackles this year?
It's got to be Campbell again. I just don't see that. I mean, really even being close. I think he's gonna have a monster year this year.
All right, yeah. And how about interceptions then? Do you think it's going to be Joseph again to lead the league, or do you think maybe Branch or another player in that secondary might step up and do it?
And keep in mind, we do play Pittsburgh, so
that's true.
I don't think it's got to be Joseph again, just because he's playing in the position he is and so forth. But I think Branch is going to grab some, and I expect Tyrion Arnold to grab some, and DJ Reed to grab some. So I think, kind of like the receiving corps, there's going to be a lot of receivers on the back end for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, of course. Well, Brad, my friend, thank you so much for those predictions. Now we're going to fire you through the Detroit Lions schedule. This is going to be part of our massive.
Hold on, Jake.
Go ahead.
You didn't ask me about sacks.
Oh, I did not ask you about sacks. Look at that.
Because I think we all know the answer to that.
Yeah, Tom Kennedy, of course.
I was just going to say, Hutchinson will not only lead the team in sacks, he will not only lead the league in sacks, but he will break the record for the most sacks ever in a season, predicted right here.
And that segment's called Brad's Not So Crazy Play of the Game.
Grounded in reality.
Yeah, grounded in reality. Context for that, Brad, is that Dad does give one crazy play every week. So,
and if you get a chance, once we send you the link to watch the first episode, you'll see why we're kind of laughing at that, because we do have a segment for him.
Yeah. It's his own segment.
And you know, the only thing is, like, with the Lions, too, you know, there are some concerns there, but, I mean, again, the only concerns that we all probably have are getting answered pretty well in the
training camp.
In the training camp, because, you know, it sounds like Tate Ratledge is sounding like a real beast. Hutchinson is definitely healthy. And again, that defense, I think, is just going to be – I think they have the potential to be the best damn defense in the whole league.
Yeah, they're playing at a top 5 level. Yeah, before they got hurt. Yeah, before all those key pieces got hurt. So.
And the old adage of defense wins you championships. So, I mean, let's say every cliche in the book, right?
Yep.
And let me tell you this, too. You guys probably know this stat. How many games they played 18 games last year. How many games did the Lions hold their opponents to 20 points or less?
Probably all but 3.
Well, 6 actually, but
only 6.
But yeah, still 12 games out of 18, the opponent scored 20 points or less. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that would be the Buccaneers scored exactly 20, Cardinals 13, Cowboys 9. Titans 14, Packers 14, Texans 23, Jags 6, Colts 6, Bears exactly 20. Let's see, Bears 17,
and
Vikings 9. Yeah,
and that's with a patchwork defense too. So
that's true. Some of those games were with guys off the street.
Yeah, and so, you know, with Hutchinson back, I mean, like I said, this guy's going to lead the whole, you know.
Well,
century backs.
My thought on that whole thing is you know, not that he wasn't fast before, but just seeing some of these off-season clips and the speed that he's got, I swear to God, he's Steve Austin. They put the bionic leg on him, you know, $6 million leg or something, because he's looking a lot faster.
Yeah. Little reference, you know, not from my time. There.
Yeah, $6 million.
Really aging yourself there, Josh. Really aging yourself. All right. Well, Brad, thank you so much, our brother Brad, for my older brother, Josh's younger brother Brad here. Thank you for appearing on Outside the Den, Inside the Barn.
And the next time you're here, you have to be in person.
That's true. So make sure you come out soon.
Good. Yeah, Josh. I don't think I'll make it on tomorrow because.
Well, we'll have to cut this part out.
Yeah,
what the heck?
Come on, man. This is a professional show here.
All right. Love you,
everybody.
Brad.
Let's give Brad a nice round of applause for calling in and thank him for giving us his time.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Brad. We love you, man, and can't wait to talk to you soon. Take care, brother. All right, so we have talked about the Hall of Fame game, and now we are going into the actual first week of preseason, not week 0, but week 1 of preseason, and the Detroit Lions are going down to Atlanta, Georgia to play the Falcons. The Falcons competing for a playoff spot till near the end of the season before they just kind of fell apart. Former Michigan State legend Kirk Cousins, also former Purple People Eater, at Minnesota, was picked up and signed a big contract to Atlanta last year before getting injured and clearly it affecting his play. And then we were actually at the draft when, with the 9th or 8th overall pick, they drafted a quarterback out of Washington, Michael Penix Jr., some of the best arm talent I've actually ever seen in college football in the past couple of years. But yeah, no, he played on a really good Washington team that lost to a certain team from Ann Arbor in the national championship game prior to that draft. But one of the first quarterbacks taken off the board of that draft, I was with my nephew, your oldest son, Calvin, there on day 1 in Detroit. And honestly, it was a shocking there. Nobody could believe it. I did not run into any Falcon fans there, but I don't know what they thought about the whole situation after they just signed Kirk Cousins to a big contract. But yeah, so a couple of really good players, former teammate of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, wide receiver. He's very talented, as well as some other really good players on that team. One of the best safeties in football, Jesse Bates, plays on the team, as well as one of the top probably 5 to 10 offensive lines in football. But those are the guys we're not going to see tomorrow. We're going to probably see some of their top draft picks. We're going to see, it sounds like we're actually going to see Tyleik Williams and Tate Ratledge for the Lions tomorrow. We're probably going to see some more of Tesla and Dominic Lovett. Hopefully some more Ahmad Hassan, because I do want to see him against some of the slightly better players. I want to see him earlier in the game, as well as, getting some of our guys more reps. So once again, it's kind of tough to preview a game when you don't know who's all going to be playing. The only thing that we know for a fact is that Hendon Hooker is planned to start the first half, which then you can kind of only assume that Kyle Allen will be playing the second half. So clearly that just no matter what happened, clearly the Lions did not see enough in that first preseason game to make a decision. So obviously it seems like they're going to give both guys kind of the full preseason unless they feel like one of them can't do it, which then obviously they'll bring in some other competition. I would assume it'd be Kyle Allen to be cut because they did spend a 3rd-round pick on Hendon Hooker. So there's just a little bit more, invested interest in Hendon Hooker. But yeah, so how do you think?
Brad Kachik.
Well, looks like we have another caller. Here comes Brad back. And we got Brad on the line. What's up, bud?
Did you hear the news?
What?
Breaking news.
Straw's out for the season.
Yeah, we were just kind of talking about that.
Yeah, we actually just talked about that. So not so breaking news from Brad, from Brother Brad.
This is typical because it seems like we know about it, and about 4 hours later we get a text. Hey, you ever heard of the Hutch Rule?
But no, yeah.
Your Twitter feed's a little slow, bud.
No, Brad, we're only laughing because we just.
I don't have a Twitter feed.
I know, Brad.
Clearly.
Brad, we're only laughing about it because we just talked about it about 30 seconds ago. So.
Well,
that Rock Yan-Zin guy, he's going to be replacing him.
I know, he hits hard. But, dude, Maddox looked really good at the training camp. Rock Ya-Sin he had some good plays in the preseason game. So, in theory, there should be enough.
Oh, yeah, that's
depth.
a name we didn't mention.
Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah, he played pretty fantastic in that.
Yeah. And Rayshaw is a backup.
Yeah.
He's not a starter.
Yeah.
So, because Robertson,
Reed and Arnold are they're the starters.
Your main guys.
Yeah.
But to lose a guy like that where you thought, hey, if one of these guys were to get hurt, you could put Rakestraw in the nickel for Robertson if he gets hurt, put him in the nickel if Arnold gets hurt and Robertson goes to the outside or with Reed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you thought maybe you wouldn't lose much from that.
Right.
And now it's thin, and then who's behind him? Because it seems like, you lose 2 corners anyway. So, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I saw a video on this, Brad, and Maddox and Rock Ya-Sin. What's nice, and whether it was intentional or not, those are 2 guys that are looking good, probably going to make the team, who can play almost every secondary position, which is pretty good. If they can play corner, outside, and do some safety stuff, that's maybe best case scenario, especially based off of what happened last season, is just to have versatile guys who seem, once again, that Maddox guy was like the third or fourth best corner on his team, but that team was the Philadelphia Eagles, who had maybe the best corner room in football last year outside of the Broncos. So, so like he's serviceable. He's going to get some reps. And then Rock Ya-Sin, he's more of a hard hitter, but he didn't play bad. And, if he's my cornerback 5, I'd rather have him than Kindle Vildor 20 times out of 10. So I'd still rather have Ali McNeil on one knee out there instead of Kindle Vildor.
Yeah.
Oink, oink, Josh.
Yeah, I don't know. Vildor I don't think he was that bad.
Hey, he was pretty bad. It's bad. Here's the
he's the only one that I've ever
juju, dude.
He's the only one I've ever seen in a real NFL game that got maddened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was literally like it was a that was absolutely what it was. It was a Madden glitch where it's like how did that go through his head?
Like, and still make the reception.
He was on his butt. How did he not touch the ground? We've all seen the animations.
Yeah.
We've all played Madden. Well, I don't play Madden anymore, but we've all played Madden. We know. It's like back in the Michael Vick 2004 where you could just run backwards 40 yards and then throw it
105-yard touchdown.
Yeah, just like what? Well, on the run backwards? Yeah, no. Thanks for the breaking news, Brad. Sorry you didn't break the news for us, but yeah, no. It's shitty news, man. It sucks.
Yeah, why not? So,
yeah.
All right, well, hey, I'll let you guys go.
All right, thanks for calling, man.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, brother. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, so I think, we had to take a quick break there to just talk about some not so breaking news for us, but breaking news for another one of our family members. But yeah, so, secondary kind of came up in conversation, and a name we forgot to mention in that Hall of Fame game was Rock Ya-Sin.
Yes.
Cornerback, safety. He's getting safety reps in camp right now, especially with the Ennis Rakestraw injury. But he made some big hits and made some nice plays last week. And I think
a couple of touchdown-saving tackles for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And getting those stops in the goal line, especially when they're that close to scoring the ball, swinging the game in the favor. Granted, ultimately didn't matter because we ended up losing quite a bit. But those are types of plays you want to see in season, right?
Yes.
That can help win a game. So getting a player who can hit that hard, can play that aggressive to the ball is something you really like to see. And, it's very much Dan Campbell style of football.
Yes.
So, I think Rock Ya-Sin could become a little bit of a favorite here in the barn if he keeps playing like that. I think that that performance alone definitely makes me think he's making the team. And I would like to see him make that because he's got that versatility. Just a name to highlight. But hopefully we'll see a little bit more of him this week. Obviously, if he makes, I don't want him playing too much because if he does actually become a rotation piece, I don't want him too banged up before the season starts. But do you have any other thoughts on, players you want to see, anything you want to see specifically for this Atlanta game tomorrow? Because we are going to be getting, from the sound of it, we're going to at least be seeing our top draft picks playing at least a couple series.
Yeah, in terms of overall personnel, I think obviously the focus has got to be on that backup spot at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Hendon Hooker time, with the second string or even some of the first string, I think is going to be important because then we get a chance to see what he can do with a little bit more quality talent coming at him defensively even. Yeah. So with him getting the start, I'm anxious to see that. I don't think he did too bad last season in the preseason or when he came in. Obviously he still has growth to do just because he just has not had that full NFL experience.
He came in as a rookie, came in injured.
Yes.
And then he's come against a team with a quarterback since Goff is not as mobile. So generally,
can you reach it? That's wood behind him.
Generally, you're not going to see a quarterback like that get injured too much unless they're hit pretty hard. Yeah. So somebody like Hendon Hooker, it's a tough situation being because you got a franchise quarterback in Goff. They're paying him like a franchise quarterback. He's playing like a franchise quarterback. And so when your backup is a rookie without that experience, it becomes very tough because you want that young guy to potentially step up and challenge Goff or potentially replace him. But then you get into the situation where all of a sudden now it's like, can he compete? Is he going to be given the actual chance to compete? And so then because the Lions are moving to a situation similar to more like a Kansas City, where they have guys like what's his name, Matt Castle, and the Carson Wentz backing up, established backup quarterbacks or established quarterbacks who have won games in the past, backing up a younger, more franchise guy. Obviously, because you want a guy who can handle the offense, who's been there in that situation, but then you get a younger guy like Hendon Hooker, and I think the worry is, I think no one's going to argue that his arm ain't there, because, man, that dude can chuck a ball. His athleticism's there. I mean, if he tucks and runs it, he can pick up 10, no problem. But I think the biggest thing is obviously going to be, can he run the offense? How does he read the defense?
Right.
And once again, it's tough for a guy like that, because his athletic upside and obviously the capital they invested into getting him, using that third-round pick, is really interesting, because it just makes it so you want it to hit more. You want these picks. Broderick Martin's another one. He, besides injuries, he hasn't played as well these past couple seasons, but they used another third-round pick, same round, same draft as Hendon Hooker, and so it becomes a thing where you want these picks, these high picks, to work out. We've seen a lot of Brad Holmes' draft picks, both first-round picks to later-round picks, work out. But the problem is like, do you move on from those guys? Do you try and trade them, but like if they haven't done enough to maybe gain trade capital? But at the end of the day, all we can do is watch and see what unfolds. But I do think you're right. I think pairing with guys higher in the depth chart, because obviously he was playing also against the third, fourth, fifth string guys again on the other team. But there's a big difference between Amon-Ra St. Brown catching a ball and I'm trying to think of Ronnie Bell. Not to speak ill of Ronnie Bell, but if I say that name, I don't know how many people listening, or even if you know who that is right off the top of your head. Not saying he's bad. Anyone in the NFL is good enough to be in the NFL, but there is a difference between an all-pro and a practice squad guy. And I think, Hooker, I think, just needs more time to play with that, but you also don't want to take that time away from Goff, especially in a transition year when it comes to our offensive coordinator.
Yes.
But yeah, so Atlanta prediction, though, you think
I'm going to say tight game. I think we do come out ahead. The whole Dan Campbell not losing back-to-back games, that might only apply to to regular season, but I think that'll stick here. It's obviously a away game, so I don't know what the spread is on it, but I don't usually go by that anyways. But
yeah, actually, I can pull up the spread real quick.
We didn't do last week is Jake's lock of the game.
I don't bet preseason.
Oh, you don't do that. That's right.
I'm bet because you can't really bet preseason.
Yeah.
Well, you could, but it's just no. Yeah. My knowledge is for what's
cha-ching.
That's true.
Wrong one. I got to work on the sound clips. I was going to do that last night, but
it's all good. This is still a launch. It's our preseason.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, so yeah, the spread in a preseason game for this one, Detroit versus Atlanta, they're saying the Lions are half a point favorites. So they're saying even in an away game. Generally, there's about a point to 1.5 points right there. Actually, no, sorry. The spread is a -3.5, so expected to win by 4 points or more. I misread the sports book. But then they're also saying the total points is 33.5, so that is the line for points. So generally, they're saying, they're expecting the game to go to 34 total points or more. But yeah, I think you're saying the Lions are going to win. Dan Campbell not to lose 2 games in a row. I'm going to say that they lose this game predominantly because Super Bowl year. But what was it? The New England Patriots, even though they lost the Super Bowl that year, they went 16-0, 17-0, and they lost all 4 preseason games. And a couple years before that, the Lions, I believe, won all 4 preseason games and went 0-16. So I'm gonna hope that we see a closer game, a more competitive game. I do not expect the Lions to pull out on top because I think we're going to see a lot more better plays in the first half, and I think we're going to be they're going to be hyper focused on evaluating some of our talent against the top talent of the Falcons. But I think they're really just in a let's process stuff mode. Let's just see how the offense goes. Let's see if these guys in defense can earn a spot, and especially we want a really deep defensive depth chart, especially after last season. So I think that's what they're really prioritizing, as well as just getting the offense down. Goff will be very active on the sidelines, right there with the headset on, talking, through the offense, kind of seeing how everything goes, seeing what it looks like against other looks, and how teams will react to that. So, and the Falcons have some talent on their team. I'm not as familiar. I have a good buddy who is actually an Atlanta Falcons fan. I was on the phone with him earlier. He's unavailable right now. He's off picking up his wife and hanging out with his wife. So I tried talking to him about maybe calling in. So maybe down the road, maybe we'll call him in. But yeah, so I think, I think we will lose the game. Does that mean anything?
No.
I don't know, but at the end of the day, same preseason mantra. We don't want to see any injuries. We want to see some impressive plays, and we want to see our rookies do well against NFL talent. Mm-hmm. Will it be the best NFL talent? No, but we still want to see it regardless. So, awesome.
Build that confidence.
Exactly. We got Sister Tori and friend of the show, Tyler Brown.
Friend of the show.
Thanks for having me.
Friend of the show. But yeah, so how you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Some preseason action.
Preseason action, yeah, right here. Classic watch party action at the barn. So awesome. Mm-hmm. So, guys, before we start going through our schedule predictions for you all, how about you each take a moment to share, maybe a top moment from last year that surprised you, whether it was a touchdown that was memorable, something that happened here at the barn, maybe even just watching the game, you two at home. Is there something that really stands out, a moment? We'll start with, ladies first, Tori. Anything specifically that stands out that was a top moment for you?
I mean, I think it's always exciting to go to the stadium and watch it in person, and be there and be in that environment. I think it's awesome. But I think the top play for me, obviously I'm a Sam Laporta fan, was that one-handed catch. Which game was that? That was the divisional round.
That was the last game we saw that season.
Yeah, it was a tough game overall, but that play was definitely so cool in my opinion. So I think that was definitely my top play of the year, at least in I don't know, and that 18 for 18.
Oh yeah, I guess the Seahawks. No, that was a great game too to watch. All right, how about you, Tyler?
Late in the season, I got recruited for fan duty.
Yeah, against the 49ers.
In the last couple games, 3-0. So we'll see if I can carry the record in the 2025 season.
Yeah, absolutely. And our other special guest, said fan, industrial-sized fan that Tyler used to help the Lions secure a win against the 49ers last year. But
he was a big part of those games.
An absolute massive part, I would say. Yeah. But all right, well, Tori, Tyler, thanks for being on. Thank you for letting me have you on. Mm-hmm. And we do hope to see you again for some future games. Obviously, here, watch parties in the barn. We're going to have some, discussions each season. Or each game of the season. So hopefully you both join us. Yeah. Here we go. So
I'm excited. The season's going to be fun. Hopefully we stay healthy and can play some really good football.
Sounds good. Tyler, anything to sign off on?
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you for being here. All right. Alrighty, we're here with my oldest nephew, Calvin, son to fellow host Josh. Calvin, first of all, how you doing today?
It's been pretty good. Definitely not the way you hope to see a game end and everything, but a lot of respect for Atlanta and prayers up for Norris.
Absolutely, yeah. So obviously we're filming this portion because we can't get everybody out all the time, but we are filming this portion immediately after the Lions versus Falcons week 1, not week 0, but week 1 matchup in the preseason. Maurice Norris went down with a pretty horrific injury. It looks like a concussion. He was seizing up a little bit, but prayers up to him. Big ups to the Atlanta Falcons for what they did and just helping, running out the clock. It's good to see the humanity in sports because you don't always see it because, we're kind of trained to hate teams, hate players. Yeah. We get vicious with it, but it is good to see that humanity. But shout out Atlanta. Shout out Maurice Norris. Prayers up. All right, so Calvin, before we get into your season predictions for the Lions this season, for the 2025 NFL season, really quick, can you name one favorite moment from last year? It could have been a touchdown or a play, maybe a big hit, potentially a moment here in the barn at a watch party, maybe at Ford Field, or maybe even watching it with your teammates or friends up at school. Any favorite moments that really stick out to you?
Oh, without a doubt, winning that NFC North against the Vikings on that game, that Week 18 game, Monday Night Football.
Hey, come here. Come sit, buddy. Come on, come sit down.
And so just winning.
Yeah, dude, get in here. Come on, put the mic on, brother.
And so, just that Monday night or Sunday night game, just going into it, like a lot of anticipation for that, heavyweight matchup, and knowing that what was at stake. I've never been so hyped to go into Ford Field. Obviously, behind going to that Rams wildcard game from 2023, but coming out victorious and I could not sleep that night. It was a perfect last weekend of winter break, and I remember just coming home and eating like 40 pizza rolls because I get so nervous I can't eat the day of games and I can't eat at games. So I came home and ate like 40 pizza rolls and at 1:30 in the morning. But yeah, it was a good game.
Enjoy that while you can, Calvin, because some of us can't eat 40 pizza rolls because that all that piles up. But all right, so before we go into your letdown of the season. I'm sorry, I forget your name. You've been around forever.
Yeah, my name's Connor. Nice
Connor, that's right. Okay. Connor, do you have a favorite moment from last year's NFL season, specifically regarding your Detroit Lions?
I would have to say, now this is a bit controversial.
Controversial,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Remember, this is a family-friendly show.
Yeah, well.
Nonpartisan, family-friendly show.
Well, you see, I'm the guy who knows pretty much nothing about football. I might as well be the X factor here. I
like that.
My favorite, I guess, favorite Lions moment of last year was when it ended. I'm just kidding. I like football a decent bit, but I really don't know much. I'm the guy you don't ask about the things.
Well, too bad. We're going to be asking you questions anyway. So, sorry. I know that's why you came over to hang out with Cal about. But all right. So, Calvin. A letdown that sticks out in your mind? Obviously, there are
Commanders. Enough said.
Yeah,
I can't talk about that game anymore.
Yeah, it's a tough one to watch. Definitely tough to rewatch those moments in season 2 of Quarterback on Netflix. How about you, Connor? Any letdown besides Calvin talking your ear off about every game?
Well, I was watching the game tonight with my dad, and it ended early. What happened with that? With the guy who hurt his neck? I don't know much about what happened there.
Hey, Calvin, you want to explain it? Or?
So it was Maurice Norris. So he was coming in for a tackle, and he went a little too low and hit his head on the running back's knee, which then that knocked him out unconscious, and then he had to get stretchered out on an ambulance. And so they are like, okay, well, this is a preseason game. The results don't necessarily matter, so we're just going to suspend the game and, just end it right there.
I see. Yeah, that's really sucks. So was that guy, is he like I don't imagine he's a starter. He's probably like a B team, right?
Yeah, he's a depth piece. He's been he did play a little bit last year with all the injuries the Lions had, but generally you see him more on the practice squad. The Lions have maybe the best safety duo in football in Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. So a guy you're probably not going to want to see out there too much because that means that we have some injuries. But regardless, any athlete, any sport, I believe you're a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
You still don't want to see anybody get hurt like that. You don't want to see, obviously, his livelihood's at stake, but his life's at stake. You don't want to see that happen for anybody. So, yeah, that is what happened in tonight's game. Obviously, a huge letdown, not for last season, but this is regardless a letdown because, that is a good friend of a lot of guys on that team. A lot of people have known him for a couple of years. He's been a Detroit Lion for 2-3 seasons now. But regardless, you don't want to see it happen. Prayers up to him. Hopefully, he ends up okay. If not, can't continue his football career. Hopefully, he can still live a fulfilling life. And hopefully it's just a concussion. And hopefully, it's okay. All right. Well, thanks for going. One Pride.
Yep, go Lions.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, and on the phone we have one of our favorite segments of the podcast, Steve's crazy play of the game. So take it away, Steve. Dad.
Okay. First of all, I would like to start out saying that the league itself are full of wimps. Crybabies over celebrations in the end zone for touchdowns.
Well, Dad, the NFL does, in fact, stand for the No Fun League. So that is true. We agree with you on that one.
So, anyways, I've been to the Lions training camp, and I've met with many cheerleaders. And what I have thrown to them is the idea that when the Lions score a touchdown and get ready to spike the ball, they run over and give it to a cheerleader and let the cheerleader spike the ball.
Oh, so you're saying the cheerleader should be doing the celebrations?
Yep.
All right. That's an interesting take, Dad.
Well, at that point, we wouldn't have that iconic ice sculpture of Amon-Ra on his head.
That's true.
No, we're going to set a trend in the NFL where the cheerleaders are going to be given the celebration.
Okay,
so I've met with cheerleaders and gave them that idea, and the next move is for them to meet with players to be willing to offer the ball to them, and then they can celebrate.
All right,
they might want to get a little mini tramp, get the ball, and dunk it over the goalpost.
Yep. That is a celebration that
that one actually would get us a flag.
That would.
That's excessive.
Yeah, so
can't spike the ball over the goalpost.
All right, awesome. So, Dad, we have your prediction for what the Lions are going to do when they score touchdowns. Do we have any predictions on how the Lions might score a touchdown? Are we going to see a crazy trick play? Are we going to see something else happen, do you think, tomorrow against the Falcons?
No trick plays.
No trick plays. So we're going to see a vanilla game tomorrow?
I just don't think the Lions are ready to show their stuff completely.
Yeah, don't show it when there's no stakes. Yeah, I agree with you.
A touchdown is exciting. Bring the cheerleader in, let them do it. If they find the cheerleader, the player can pay it for them.
All right, sounds good. All right.
So,
well, Dad,
that's my trend. The Lions are trendsetters, and this is a biggie.
Sounds good. All right.
It'll get a lot of attention.
That's true.
Next time you'll hear about referees.
All right. Well, we don't
want to get fined.
We don't want to get fined now, Dad. All right. Well, hey, that audience was our dad Steve's crazy play of the game. This time it is going to be cheerleaders get to celebrate, so the players don't get fined. Dad, thank you for calling in. We love you, sir, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow for tomorrow's watch party.
Okay. Love you too. I think this would be big.
Yeah, huge, some would say.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, Dad.
Yep.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, love you.
See you. Yeah, bye.
See you later.
So Lions Legends week 1 or week 0, cheerleaders week 2. It sounds like a little spoilers. Looks like we're getting some referee talk in week 3. Ooh, a little touchy subject.
I don't know if a ref can score a touchdown for another team unless they're Kansas City.
That's true. I don't know. Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas and Jerry's World could be it.
Yeah.
But before we get fined, Josh, I think that's a good place to call it. So that was episode 2 of Outside the Den, Inside the Barn. I'm Jake. That's Josh. That was Brad and Dad. So thank you for watching. Josh, thanks for putting this on. And we cannot wait to see our Detroit Lions play against Atlanta tomorrow. In Atlanta, unfortunately. But we'll be tuned in. We'll be here at the barn. Have a good one.
Go Lions.
Go Lions. One pride, baby. Yeah.